Alright, so the painting that I decided to look up information about was the Holy Virgin Mary, and you can find it on page 93. And it's painted by a guy named Chris O'Feely. And this painting consists of a lot of psychedelic patterns, some bright colors, and textured surfaces. This painting is religious and political because it's a African American Virgin Mary instead of our, classic white Virgin Mary. And there's a lot of issues with this painting, and I'll tell you why in just a couple minutes. If you see the page or the painting on page 93, the woman in the painting has a African mouth, and this painting is exaggerated with facial features too, and it's to call attention to racial stereotypes. So basically, Chris O'Feely wanted to paint this picture to draw out what a racial stereotype is, and people obviously got upset about it. The painting contains a shimmery orangish background with paint dots and glitter on it. We can't see the glitter in the book, but I looked up and it said there is glitter on it. The individual in the center of the painting is staring right at you when you look at it, so she's the focal point. She's obviously the Virgin Mary. She has a blue gown painted at the top of her head and down the base of her body, but the gown falls open, and then this is where the problem came in. He drew out elephant manure where her chest would be, and that's why people got upset, because they were thinking, why does the Virgin Mary have manure, elephant manure on her? It's insulting and sick. That's what people said. But Chris O'Feely he drew the elephant manure to represent African cultures, and that's how he was raised, so he just painted it, and he didn't think it was going to be such a big deal because it was an African culture, and he was painting what he believed in. In the background, you can see little shapes. You can barely see the shapes, and they look like butterflies flying away, but they're actually pictures of women's butts, and they're surrounding the Virgin Mary in the painting, and these butts are very abstract, because the painting of the butts really just look like decorative objects, or just butterflies, like I said, flying away in the background, so you have to look really closely to even see that they're women's butts. Reichert says that O'Feely said he made a hip-hop version of the Holy Virgin Mary, and that's why people had issues with it. But I also think that times have changed, that there's a white Virgin Mary. I feel like he painted this because why can't there be another race of Virgin Mary? Because we should all be treated equally. So I feel like that's what I got when I saw this painting. The shapes in this painting, if you see, she's a little round and wide, and she has white circle eyes, and her face is really dark. And then you see the blue gown, and the shapes in the background are really organic. They're rounded, like butts, obviously. And so I think that this painting has more of organic shapes than geometric shapes, but I could be wrong. In the painting, through my eyes, I see her body, and I think of what we read about Mass, because her body looks like it's literally a solid body material. It's a body, like the lines made the body of a woman, African American woman. For instance, the drawing of the lines make up the blue gown and the lines of the black color make it look like a body. This space in this painting is interesting to me because, like I said, there's butterflies, but they're really buds, really spaced out, but they're surrounding the main focal point, which is the Virgin Mary. It's obvious that the artist made a very clear image of her because she's portraying the Virgin Mary, and she's the biggest object in the painting because she's the main person that we're trying to talk about, the Virgin Mary. However, the woman's butts in the background are spaced out smaller, and you can't really tell what they are unless you look closely, like I said earlier. In this painting, I think that there's a lot of lines, and that, like I said earlier, the lines form the human that is in the middle of the painting. And there's actual lines, there's irregular lines in the orange's background, if you look closely, because they're kind of fading. And I think there's diagonal lines, and like I said, that make up her gown and body, and they're shaded with the colors blue and black. When we read about colors, I obviously said earlier that this painting is consisted of orange, red, the butts are light purplish, there's some dark brown and black, and when you look at this painting, our attention goes straight to her in the painting. Like I said earlier, people are so used to the white Virgin Mary because that's how society was back in the day. And I feel like Chris Olivier painted this so we can see passage of time. That's what we read in the book, Passage of Time, and I say this because our world and our society has changed so much over time, and I think since there was a white Virgin Mary, then why can't there be an African American Virgin Mary or another race Virgin Mary? We should all be treated equally, and I don't see any problem with him painting elephant manure on her because that's their culture, and if that's what he believes in, then that's fine. I mean, everyone has their own opinion and their own thoughts and their own culture that they live by. The motion in this painting is still because when you see her, she's standing there. She's the main person just standing there. But the buds that look like butterflies look like they're flying away. So that's where I could see there's a little bit of motion in this painting. And also, I don't personally think that the colors have high saturation. I think the colors are a little dull and they look faded and it looks like a little old and ancient-y. But yeah, that's what I think about this Holy Virgin Mary, and it was very interesting to look up all of the information about it and the background, and hopefully you guys will like it too.